Good evening. As always, double checking myself. Mahogany is in the house tonight. Good evening to you. Tammy, always 100. Never, never, ever fake. Good to see you tonight. There is, I think, Miss Graham is in the house. Vincent B, good evening to you. Thank you for tuning in as well tonight for our live broadcast. And we have a guest on the line with me tonight. Sandy Miller is here from South Carolina. Am I talking about South Carolina tonight? Something happened in South Carolina. South Carolina. South Carolina. Yes, it did. I think it's Aiken, South Carolina. Yeah, okay. Okay. As always, I love you big time. I thank you for your genuine support of the show and the things that we are trying to do. Maisha Dow, good evening to you. Crystal, good evening to you. Welcome. Hot Pink is in the house tonight. Always good to see you. She's going to keep law and order. I love you big time. I gratefully appreciate what you're doing for the show. Tonight, I know you see the title, MASSA Give Us Free. Now, we know that came from slavery days. Then slavery would get abolished and they would have their free papers and could go here and go there. Well, I entitled it MASSA Give Us Free simply because they are trying to take us back 400 years. Asanya Price, good evening to you. Welcome. They're trying to take us back 400 years. Every day last week, when I say every day, I mean every day. Good evening, sexy. Grandma is in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Miss Johnson, Consuela Johnson is in the house. Good evening. Okay. They're trying to take us back 400 years. Every day last week, not every other day. Every day last week, I shared stories with you all on racism. Every day last week, racism was being inflicted against someone in the United States, and it was being filmed. This week has become a carbon copy of last week. Houston, Texas, welcome. Always surprised to see I have a friend in Houston. Every study that I did today, every site that I went to, Southern Poverty Law Center and others, ACLU and AACP, to get statistics on the rise of racism and hatred and discrimination in this country. For the most part, as you know, most of them was probably running neck to neck on the stats. Some a little less, some a little more. But all of them had one thing in common. All of them said that the majority of Americans believe that Donald Duck is the reason hatred and racism and discrimination is on the rise in this country. And I absolutely, positively, unquestionably agree with him on that. Blacks are routinely and systematically treated differently than white people. We are harassed in our homes, we're harassed on the streets, we're harassed on our jobs, we are harassed through social media. So you have to ask yourself, how long, Lord, must we endure being dogged out, being called every name but the name on our birth certificate? How long must we endure this? How long must we endure when we send our kids outside to play, or go check the mail, or run errands? How long will we have to endure racist white people confronting our kids when they have done nothing wrong? How long? How long? I prayed. Fast. Look towards the hills from which cometh my help. And if we were to tell the truth right now, we will all say nothing has changed. If anything, it's getting worse. And we keep looking to the police and the government to come in and save us. That you can scratch. That's not going to happen. That's part of your problem right there. It is absolutely amazing how many crimes racist white people commit in a day in the United States, and they don't get arrested. I told you last week, I think, that we have niggers and we have black people. But every black person, whether they know it or not, has a nigger on the inside of them. And the one thing racist white people don't want to happen, they don't want the nigger to rise up in black people. You're creating a hell, I promise you, that you will not be able to deal with. Every day is something new. Every day is something new. And the people that we should trust to correct it don't do anything. Let us not forget Gregory McMichael, Travis McMichael are not in custody because they killed Ahmaud Arbery. They're in custody because you all saw the video. That's why they're locked up. That's why they're locked up. It's as simple as that. Now, when I retaliate and I have no brakes, you see me as being evil and wrong. I'm supposed to keep taking it to God and let God deal with it. Well, God's going to deal with it in his time. But right now, with all due respect, God is not moving fast enough. Therefore, it's time for us to take matters into our own hands. The white folks do. The white folks do. If I said this shit is out of hand, you and I would know that's an understatement. It's an understatement. And now you're aggressively attacking our children. And that's off limits there. Before we get to the guests, in South Carolina, South Carolina, a little black girl was asked by her grandmother to go check the mailbox. And she went. After she checked the mailbox, she was standing in front of her neighbor's house by her mailbox, which is a white woman. The white woman comes running out of the house, falsely accusing the 11-year-old black girl of stealing her mail. Now, once the lady looked at the mail and saw that the address on it was not hers, it was too late because the damage to the child had already been done. She had already grabbed the child by the arm and was pulling her. Next, the racist white husband comes out. And he says something to the extent, this might have ended differently if he was of a different race. I can't think of one reason on planet Earth for a 11-year-old black girl to go into anyone's mailbox to take their mail out and then take it to grandma. That don't make any goddamn sense. Exactly. Here's what's going on. A proclamation has been issued and stamped and approved to interrupt our lives by any means necessary. And racist white people will not know that you and I are tired of the bullshit until you and I are tired of the bullshit. All this praying and waiting for a change to come. Before that happens, you'll be buried in your grave. A black girl, 11 years old, traumatized for standing by a white woman's mailbox. Trump is the reason racism is on the rise. And he knows it. Trump has given closet racists the courage to step outside the door and say, by the way, I've been lying. I don't like you niggas. But as I was talking to Chief Davis today, and I told him, I said, what white folks don't realize, racist white folks don't realize, is that Donald Trump is well protected by Secret Service. Y'all out here buck ass naked. You have a black truck driver in, I think, Oklahoma, was making a delivery. And he is stopped at the gate by two white men. One is the head of the homeowners association, demanding he tell them why he's there. You had to have a code to get in. The black guy, yes, I did. DUH. They wouldn't let him leave. Telling him to get out. I need to see your ID. Here's what he should have done. He should have rolled over their bitch ass and suffered the consequences later. That's the same as kidnapping. You're holding me somewhere against my will. The law states that I use my wife, for instance, if she's in the living room and I won't let her leave out, I am kidnapping her. That's what I'm doing. That's the law. That's what you're doing. You move a person from one spot to another, or if you don't let them out, that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. We can talk about this all night, but if we don't become proactive, it's only going to get worse. More than 150 years after the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery in the United States, we find ourselves once again sitting on the porch of the white man's plantation. 6 in 10 Americans say race relations in the United States are bad, and that it's getting worse. 56% thinks Trump has made race relations in this country more worse than what they really were. This has become the norm. It's now common for racist white people to express their racist views, whether you like it or not. A study was done last year that took 101 black teens and asked them to participate in the study on racism. The students reported more than 5,600 experiences of racial discrimination. over a 2-week period. That's an average of 2 more than 5 times per day. That's how often it happens. In 2020, what we're talking about tonight ought not be the case. But we are under attack on every end. On every end. And it's getting worse. Something has to give. We can't take no more. I can't. My mindset now is to start dropping them motherfuckers like flies. And I've been to prison before. I don't want to go back. But I tell you what, if you keep fucking with my people, I'm going to have a brand new mugshot. We're not our ancestors. We're not bowing down. We're not just praying on our knees, thinking it's going to magically disappear once we get up off our knees. There ought to come a time where you use common sense and realize, wait a minute, we got to come up with a new approach to the injustices that we continue to receive in the United States, because the police department is not our lifeline. The government is not our lifeline. They're part of the goddamn problem. A couple of years ago, several police officers in Florida were fired when they found out that they were white supremacists. So can you imagine the time they spent on the force, how many times they did blacks wrong or lied about them? Just imagine that. Just imagine that. Today, I saw a video of a black woman. I think she may have been 70, 80, I'm not for sure. The video, heaven bagging me up, I sat and I literally cried at what I saw. I saw an old woman being made to pull her pants down. Nothing on but her panties, which was a little too big because she was very slim. I saw a black woman with a whip beat this woman. Another black woman came in and helped, making the lady bend over and take the ass whooping. All because the woman fell asleep, I think, in the sofa or on the bed with the child. So I'm so damn nervous trying to get a number to call to report their ass. Before I did that, I made an announcement on Facebook and asked anybody if they knew who this was to call me, because these two people need to be locked up. Well, like always, they came through. One lady immediately sent me an email. This happened a while back. After they beat the lady went missing. The police in Mississippi later found her. So it had happened a while back. But nevertheless, it should not have happened. This is your relative, and you standing there humiliating this woman, and it's being recorded, and you don't give a fuck. Jail is too good for them. Jail is too good. Too good for them. Tonight, I got my good friend on the line with me. I'm not going to keep him waiting any longer. It's Chief Keith Davie. He is over the Missing Persons Task Force. He's been on here several times before. I've been on his show. Normally when he comes on, he's probably talking about missing, exploited kids, people in general being kidnapped, things of that nature. But tonight he's on for a different reason, because he does a lot more than deal with the issues I just named. So I brought him on to speak with me about racism in this country. Tonight, you know, without a doubt, we're going to be talking about Ahmaud Arbery and what happened to him. It took law enforcement 74 days to arrest Gregory McMichael and Travis McMichael for the lynching of the 25-year-old Lamar Aubrey. 74 days. It took them, hope I'm right on this one, I think I did my math, 88 days to arrest the director, the producer, or the cameraman. Whatever you want to call William Ryan, that's him. He recorded the 30-second video. It would have taken him less time to dial 911 than to sit and film it for their own amusement at a later date and time. Well, last night, we got word that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation surrounded his house and took him in custody. And to God be the glory. One lady was upset saying he may have done this and done that, but they cannot charge him with homicide. The fuck they can't. I believe they will. I believe they will. There's more to it than what is being seen and what is being told. One reporter asked the GBI this morning, they were speaking on it during the press conference, was William Bryan a witness? Well, in a very sardonic way, he said if we saw him as a witness, he wouldn't be arrested. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And it's very sad and very disturbing when we have to make the law do what they were hired to do. This could have been over on February 23rd. But the powers that be wouldn't let it. Chief Davis.
Yes, sir.
How are you this evening, brother?
I'm blessed. Ready to rock and roll with you, brother.
And I'm glad you're here. I know you have been researching some things all day today on the Ahmaud Arbery case, as well as some other cases we're going to talk about tonight. But I'm going to give you the mic, and wherever you want to start, it works for me, brother.
I'm gonna start in first. Good evening to everybody on here. I'm gonna start with this whole racism act that's been going on for a good while, and it's worsening. And what I'm getting ready to say, hell, it might piss somebody off, but see, I'm not a snarling wolf for nothing. That's all I do is piss people off. And I no fucks give that, but I haven't said it and everything. You see what I'm saying? So we want to get down to the nitty gritty in this chocolate city right now. We are at our 44th president and one dumbass, right? And we had to put a black man in the Oval Office. We should be going forwards, but we going backwards. I'm gonna say a couple of names and everything, and I don't want nobody to think I'm preaching, even though I am a licensed preacher. You know, Emmett Till, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Claudette Coleman, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Coretta Scott King, Peter Green, Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Michael Jackson, Ben Fox, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Tyler Perry, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Little Richard, and the list goes on of people cut from the same cloth.
Come on.
As we are. You see what I'm saying? As black folks. And we don't even know how to represent ourselves nowadays. The people that have been through the trenches, blood, sweat, and tears, died so that we could live. Died so that Barack Obama could be in the Oval. You see what I'm saying? Yet we still don't know how to represent ourselves as black folks. You see what I'm saying? Because I say that because we so busy around here, you know, going back and forth with each other, shooting and killing each other, you know, stabbing each other in the back.
Tell it.
You know, putting each other down, you know, fucking over each other, and getting angry at one another. When we should be getting mad free, or even William Ryan, for that matter, and get mad if Trump becomes president again, because Obama had a protocol for COVID-19, and Trump said, nah, we don't need that. These niggas, fucking, fake bullshit. We don't need them niggas fake bullshit. That's, Trump might as well said that. Yet, what happened is that now, we got COVID-19 and they scrounging around like goddamn roaches when you turn the light switch on. You get mad if Biden is an elected president. You see what I'm saying? You get mad at that. And you all should be mad at all that. You see, hell, this Monday, I'll be wrestling, walking down the aisle with Old Glory over my shoulder, but hell, I feel as though the way this country is going, I should be walking down the aisle with Old Glory on my shoulder, but Old Glory upside down in the damn distress thing. Because this country right now is in a huge recession, bigger than ever, a pandemic that is caused because we got a dumbass president that want to take out the protocol that should have protected us from. People don't realize this shit, but we got to sit up here and stand. We got to stand hand in hand like Martin Luther King wanted us to do. And we got to represent ourselves and everything. And I say this as a black man, that those that aren't standing, for ourselves out here and everything, y'all represent me the wrong way and everything. And it makes no damn more sense that all this racism is coming back 400 years later in a worse way than they went back 400 years.
That's it.
This is new racism. This is the new slavery right here. They just have churched it up a little bit. People don't see that and everything. They are still down here, gunning down good black men. Aubrey was a good black man, and all that man wanted to do was run. But yet, the McMichaels saw a black man running, and they said, oh, it's hunting season on that end. But see, what these dumbasses didn't realize, there were several different cameras on different angles.
Come on with it. Come on.
Looking at their ass.
Come on with it.
You see, you see one thing about Greg McMichael as a police officer, and I'm saying this as a police officer myself, Greg McMichael sat there and he's a police officer. His dumb ass should have known, he should know your damn neighborhood and should know where every man's camera is in that neighborhood. His dumb ass was enraged. He let that goddamn go enraged because that racism, that dumb, that dumb three-eyed racism right there, he let that engulf him being the protector of the people as supposed to have been black, white, red, or brown. And he forgot all that, and he just wanted to kill himself a nigga, simple as that.
That's it.
That's you can't get no. I mean, I knew a little bit about this case and wanted to do more on it later on, but then I talked to you, Scott, earlier, and I engulfed my whole day into that and everything. And I mean, the thing about it, Aubrey didn't even deserve. This man seemed like he had a strong family background. He came from a strong family background. This man had a good future ahead of him. Everybody loved him. You see what I'm saying? And that's see us going ahead and they don't want us to go too far because they're afraid that we might go further than their asses. That's what they tried. They knew he was going to be president. And this man had more security than anything because they were sure as hell, as my name ain't Keith, that he was going to be assassinated.
Come on. So did.
Myself, I was sure that man would be assassinated because of the color of his skin. And I worried about that man and prayed for that man every single day. But see, that's why I say the last president that we had was Obama, because right now we don't have a president, we have a fucking clown.
That's it. For the goddamn circles.
You see, you call him Donald Duck, and my dialysis center, we call him the Great Orange.
Come on.
To me, he don't deserve a first or last name and everything. And we just now finding out that he's taking that damn medicine that's not even good for any human being. It sounds like a cleaning supply to me more than anything. Hell, man, shit, who knows? It might be a cleaning supply. He just used it as a medicine. Who knows? He's that damn dumb.
Yeah, he's dumb as a box of damn rocks there. And
man's so dumb, you can tell him that if you drink game, you might gain an extra couple of years, and he'll probably drink it just like a dumbass.
exactly. Quickly, to somewhat validate what we're talking about tonight, I want to read a couple of news articles that was just recently. Louisville, Kentucky, a black woman, Breonna Taylor, 26 years old. She was an emergency medical technician, was killed in her own home by an angry white mob led by an angry white police officer, all in plain clothes. I think they said it was 20-some shots. She was hit, if I remember correctly, 8 times. Benjamin Crump said Breonna Taylor was mutilated. Now, the individual that they were looking for, and you and I discussed this earlier, Chief, was already in their police custody. So, and you tied that into Emmett Till when the mob went for him. And so nothing has changed in tomorrow's hour. Daquan Jones, 22 years old, black male, was on his way to see his girlfriend when he was attacked by 3 racist white men. As they was beating him, they were yelling out racial slurs. Now, this was at, I think, 3:25 a.m. The police found the victim laying on the ground with significant but non-life-threatening injuries. He had injuries to his left side and the left side of his face, as well as his hands. Now, these are just 2 recent stories, and they are racially motivated. Louisiana had a police officer that he had to be taking some kind of fucking pills for him to do this during a live feed with Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards to give his update on the coronavirus. He typed into the comment section, unfortunately, all blacks were not killed by COVID-19. He lost his gun and his badge. These were just undercover, I call them closet racists. You know, what keeps angering me is when the Glenn County Police Department continues to release past videos of their encounters with Ahmaud Arbery. That don't have a goddamn thing to do with what happened on February 23rd. You know, even the homeowner said there wasn't anything taken. And if it had been, I wouldn't have wanted him to lost his life like that.
But my thing is, see, he ran past a house that was under construction.
Mm-hmm.
There was really, he ran past it. He didn't run from the driveway. He didn't run nowhere from the property. Nowhere. He probably wasn't even near the property. He's probably at the bottom of the sidewalk, probably not even close to the goddamn curb. There was no need for them to even come out. And see, what pisses me off about Georgia, they said that the two dumbass DAs, and I can't wait till they get them two some bitches. They sat there and said that it is citizens' arrest to gun down. Now, they didn't say anyone.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to say any black person. They wanted to say,
come on.
but see, because of who they are and their position, and they didn't want to say that shit on live television, they said anyone, which is a bunch of bullshit to me, because a citizen arrest law means just using handcuffs or something to tie them down. I ain't never heard no complicated bullshit of gunning anybody down, and that's citizen arrest.
Exactly.
I ain't never heard that.
And
no, I've been with people before becoming a law enforcement officer. I was a DC Guardian Angel. I was a Black Panther, and we learned about citizens arrest, and not one of that shit said about gunning anybody down.
Exactly. And you know what? If we talk about citizen arrest, in order for a citizen to want to run and arrest somebody, now correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, shouldn't that individual had already committed a crime?
Exactly. They should have already committed a crime, and the person that's doing the citizen arrest should have viewed that crime, because he's going to be able to, he's going to have to answer that to the police of why he formed a citizen's arrest. Now, I'm pretty sure, because they already, like I said before, the two jackass DAs, they backed out because the fact of the matter that it was a police officer involved. They probably was friends with McMillan, as long as he'd been on the damn force and everything, you know.
Mm-hmm. They were.
And I'm sure that that resident that text messaged the police officer, I'm pretty sure it's something tells me that Aubrey could have been a target. I may be fishing a little bit, but it may be something. My third eye is just telling me, my third eye ain't never wrong. And oh Lord, it ain't never wrong.
Listen,
and Aubrey could be the target.
No, you are not wrong. You are 1,000,000% correct. There are past dealings with him and the police department. And the thing about Ahmaud is that he had a mouth. And he wouldn't just let them talk down to him, and he would let them know his rights, and I haven't done anything, so you do not have the authority to be coming over here harassing me. But let me ask you this, Chief. You're an ex-police officer. Is it normal for a police officer to speak with someone and advise them if they have any trouble at their house, not to call the police, but to call the neighbor down the street? Is that normal for police officers to do?
Hell no. You know, I would never tell anybody not to call the police, but to call this person.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't know, first of all, if that person is going to be out.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, hell, he could be drunk somewhere and you are supposed to call the police, whether there's a police officer in the neighborhood or not. And they gave that police officer gave that citizen, that neighbor, that resident false information, and that police officer needs to be brought up on charges too, just for that dumbass text message.
Exactly, and now with the DAs, and you've read the story. You read what Jackie Johnson said. You read what George Barnhill said. The NAACP and other organizations and me are calling for them to either resign or be fired. What's your take on that?
They need to go in the fiery furnace.
Gotcha.
Walk their asses right in there, right now.
Listen, is it possible, since we know they're racist, that there have been other violations against blacks, but we just don't know about it?
There is a strong, very strong possibility. Let me tell you something. With every case that has to do with racism and everything, the first one that gets media coverage is never the first victim.
Come on.
It's never. I'm gonna use another example. Rosa Parks was not the first one to sit on the front of the bus. It was called a code. But Rosa Parks, because what was going on at the time with the movement and everything, she was noticed for that.
That's it.
So when it comes to all that racism and everything, and all these racist acts that are going on, the media coverage and everything, because it was first on the media doesn't mean that was the very first racist act going on, around whichever, it happened at. So, they need to cut the bull. It just makes me mad that the fact of the matter, if you notice the numbers since Trump has been in office, is getting much worse for us black people.
It is, and he ignites their flame, and he tells them, if only in subliminal messages, you're doing a great job. Keep doing it. I honestly don't think that he should have given a statement on Ahmaud Arbery if he was going to say some bullshit like, well, we don't know what happened before. Maybe some things in the video we missed. I don't think President Obama or President George Bush would have said that. Even if they thought that.
Hell no. And you know what? As much as I hate Bush, I would rather have him than this jackass we got in the show.
I totally agree with that. And if it wasn't bad enough for him, first of all of them should be held pending trial. They're talking about bond hearings now. I don't think they should be given a bond because the father and son had 74 days to relax, and William Bryan, I think, had 88. They don't need to go back outside again. They don't.
No, they got time to think.
That's it. And I always said a punishment must fit the crime. And I agree with Ahmaud's mother when she said, well, they took my son's life. It's only right that they lose theirs. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. But
I'm right with her at the fact that they should give the highest of the law required to justice. I agree 100%. I mean, as soon as I saw and heard that she said that, I was done right there. I said that before I even heard her say that.
My God.
They should fucking. I say, hey, if I was the governor of Georgia, I say, since you took a young man and it was a racist murder, we're going to take your life and we're going to do it the old-fashioned way and hang your ass.
Exactly. It's just hard to believe in 2020 that blacks are still begging and demanding justice in this country. This is not 1920, it's 2020.
You see, the thing about it is that they're trying. You see, they brought us here 400 something years ago. From the boat, off of Africa and everything. They brought us here. Brought our forefathers here and everything. And the thing about it is, there's so many of us now that they have tried so many ways to get rid of us. They gave the soldiers in Vietnam a pill and made them sign a waiver saying that if something happened to them, that nobody's responsible, and they ended up getting HIV. They brought crack cocaine into not the white neighborhoods, but the black neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
They can white the black folks out, but here, hot hell to high water, it went into the white communities and the other communities, so they fucked that up. Now they trying to do chemical warfare for COVID-19, which I know for a fact that I sold my own house when I was in the military in a petri dish for COVID-19. They just didn't have a name for it. We've been through, if you notice, every 10, maybe 15, 20, maybe 15, 12, I say every 10 years, we are going through so different pandemic or something. The H1N1, alert, everything else. They are trying their best to wipe out the population, and they're doing it in a way where they're trying to get rid of the elders, but everybody's here.
Let me ask you this, Chief. Do you think that this crime against Ahmaud Arbery should be looked at as a hate crime?
Most definitely. Something like I said, he was a target. The man, and see, I was a runner before I got sick. You know, I was a runner because I was a football player. I played at the University of Miami. Everything. I was always jogging and everything like that. Okay, a jogger and a runner always takes the same route.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Aubrey knew that neighborhood, and they probably seen him numerous of times. I guarantee you, if they look at all those cameras a couple of weeks back, which they go bring in court, matter of fact, trust me, they will. You're going to see Aubrey. And it already stated that they looked and they saw a kid, a white couple, another person, and all.
Exactly. And they claim they didn't know who he was. And I said that because I believe they've been gunning for this man for years. They have had encounters with Ahmaud Arbery. Jackie Johnson, the district attorney, was trying his case when he was in high school, I think, on weapons charges. Well, every DA has to have an investigator. And in this particular case, the investigator was Gregory McMichael. So if personal, face-to-face, through documents, whatever, all these people are connected. They knew Ahmaud Arbery, and he knew them.
And see, if these prosecutors that are on Arbery's side are very smart and everything, they would look at those videos like I did earlier. I spent the whole hour and 30 minutes slowing it down, and if they look at that blood spatter, they see one thing. They see that Arbery did not defend himself. He did not attack. He stood there and he was killed cold blooded. That's it. That's all. They should have been able to close this case within an hour.
Exactly.
But see, there's so many different channels and so many of this goddamn publicity. They want to long drain it and build a 15 minutes of fame around it and everything. You see, one thing that pisses me off about the media today, and I don't mean like me and you people that actually care. I mean these dumb sons of bitches that go to school for it and everything and get paid millions of dollars and everything just to ruin people's fucking lives and everything. They want this 15 minutes of fame to make them look good and everything. But see, these are real, actual human beings whose lives were fucking up in the process.
That is it. That is it, hands down. You know, and another thing that puzzles me, and we talked about it earlier, is that Gregory McMichael wasn't allowed to carry a weapon.
Yeah, I see that kills me right there. I have been on the force in 2 different states.
Mm-hmm.
And in each state, we have the police week in DC every year.
Mm-hmm.
All the police officers all over the United States come to DC, and we have different things going on. And see, you don't know how you're not licensed to use a gun, to carry a gun and everything. As a police officer, you don't get a badge. So how did he become a police officer?
Okay, so what you're saying is that in the academy, because he didn't take the firearms training for whatever reason. I know one time he said, one time he said that his mother, somebody in the family was sick or he was going through something. There was different stories as to why he didn't take the course. Now, with you being ex-law enforcement, are you allowed to even work and you haven't taken the firearms training?
You can work, but you won't be doing no police work. You'll probably be doing some desk work or, there are things that you can do like drive the tow trucks and the service trucks and things like that and everything. That doesn't really revolve. I mean, you can wear a badge. It doesn't really involve you to have a firearm because you don't need a firearm for those things. Hell, we're talking about Georgia anyway. I have a friend right now who's trying to be a police officer. She's been trying to be a police officer for 10 years and lives in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
But she cannot become a police officer because she's scared to touch a gun.
But that's not going to turn out good for her then. With Gregory, now I can understand maybe when something was going on, you couldn't take it then. But Chief, this went on for years that he didn't have a gun or a badge, and he's also now working in the DA's office as an investigator, and he still does not have a badge. I mean,
you shouldn't need to be an investigator because most investigators are home police.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a requirement now. You will get, there are people that want to be investigators, and there's some good investigators that have became investigators that never been a police officer and everything. But if you come to the board and they see that you've been a police officer, they'll hire you independent before they'll hire a person that's never been a police officer. Well, again, I'm questioning how you even got that.
Exactly. It's a lot of troubling things to this story, but I'm glad that William Bryan is in custody. And as I asked you all the other night, I need you to write send a letter, email, let the police department know
the DA know. These three racist, white supremacists, low-life, trifling, insignificant white boys must not be given a bond. They must be held pending trial. No bond.
I say throw them right into jail.
I mean, that's it. You know, I mean, I, don't do to others what you don't want done to you. These people have no regard for the law and no regards for black lives. And what's worse than this is the other things they have done pertaining to black people that you and I and the viewers don't know and probably never will know about. And so that's why I'm raising concern that every case they ever worked on, Gregory McMichael, the racist DAs that involves black people, I don't care if it's 10,000, everyone must be pulled and reviewed.
You know, it's funny, and the viewers are probably going to laugh at me. I told you this earlier. This case pissed me off so bad. After I had researched everything, I had to sit for an hour and smoke some weed to calm down. Because I was definitely ready to go to the gym and shoot every last one of them bitches.
Mm-hmm.
It pissed me off so, it engulfed me so bad that I was literally.
I was the same way, you know, and the more I read, the more I see. And not to mention, I don't know if you got a chance to read her report. I think it's Lindsay McMichael, the daughter, the sister. When
No, I didn't get to her yet.
Okay, she came out a few days ago and said that her daddy is not a racist because he never had a problem with me dating black men. So, in this is me. With my daughter, love her to the ends of the earth. I may not like who she dates, but I'm going to put up with it because of my daughter. I'm going to tolerate this. But that was her attempt, I guess, to do damage control. Well, she failed that. I think the next day or a day later, she goes to her Snapchat account and upload an unedited picture of Ahmaud Arbery laying on the ground. Then, when questioned by police, she admits to doing it, but I wasn't trying to do any harm. I'm gonna let you answer that, Chief.
Oh, that bitch needs to be in jail right along with him. Right beside him and under the jail too, and she needs to be on that film. See this shows me that this was planned. It just shows so many leaks, but I'm filling in these leaks just little by little that this was planned. Mm-hmm. Like I said, always a runner. Every runner has the same route. They have a second route. They have a third route. You know, they don't always go those routes, but they might have seen Aubrey maybe every other day.
Exactly.
Every 2 days or something. They know, and the fact of the matter is that they probably tell them, hey, nigga, get the hell out of our neighborhood. And Aubrey said, man, fuck y'all. I run whatever the fuck I want.
Exactly.
So that was their way, because like you said, Aubrey had a mouth. So they was there trying to silence that man, and they all planned that shit together.
I totally agree with everything that you just said. And before we get out of here tonight, as well as we can come together and not killed our loved one, and the NAACP get involved, Reverend Al Sharpton gets involved. If we can do that when someone white attacks us, we have to do the same thing with black on black crime.
I don't even trust that ACP no more. I really don't.
Not many do. I was once a member, but I remember on air, I think it was on KOK, I cut it up. So as I always say, if you want any race to see you in a different light, then you must first see yourself in a different light. We're killing one another, but that's not a problem. And we know why that's not a problem. But uh, I put a post up a couple of weeks ago and I called racism and hate crimes a pandemic. And the state of Ohio basically just said the same thing. It is a pandemic. And uh, this should be the same in every state. When it comes to us, we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. And there are so many acts that I think would fall under the hate crime, but they're not there. Like when white people see black people in a Jaguar, Mercedes, Cadillac, whatever, in a nice home, they call the police and say there's a suspicious person. Well, if you would take that right there, Chief, and amend the Hate Crime Act and slide that in there, that will stop a lot of that bullshit. And I think the minimum you can get, and it's not at the judge's discretion, the minimum time that you can get is 5 years. And it does not come with suspended sentence or probation. This shit is getting out of hand, and you just want us to keep singing the old hymns and praying and walking and having rallies. That shit is dead. It may have worked back then, but this is 2020. We got to be proactive. We got to get out here and fix it so this shit will begin to have a major decrease in it. We have to become proactive as black people. We can't wait on the next black person to be victimized by somebody white.
Right.
We can't. And it's troubling because it's happening every day. And you would think when vice presidents of company or executives have seen so many times when people posted racial slurs through social media that it got to the media and they were fired from their diabolical acts. But that hasn't stopped. People are still doing that to this day. I honestly thought when Senator Obama was elected, I thought all hell would break loose because he's a black man. But it did not happen like this. When he was in office, we really saw none of this. They had their little pictures they would put up with ropes and shit like they're still doing. But racism and hatred in this country right now is so fucking thick you can cut it with a knife. I just knew beyond a shadow of a doubt with a black man being in the White House, this would happen, but it didn't. All right. Before we get out of here, Risha Rod, what's going on with her case? Is there anything new with Relicious case?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to get some things changed around because the original, I've recently had brought to my attention by the detective that's on the case that Shamika, the mother, is not a suspect. And I literally dropped my Pepsi when he said that and started cussing up a storm like a sailor on a boat. I couldn't believe it, but they're saying that Antonio is a suspect for raping and molesting Relicia's older, well, not her older brother, but the oldest boy has spoken up and said so. That Antonio has raped and molested Relicia. So
wait a minute. Wait. This is new to me. We're talking about the little girl that's missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was raped and molested.
Yeah, and not only that, also Antonio has another kid. Well, he has several kids, but he has a 2-year-old, and the So Antonio is he's really to me a problem and can be a flight risk right now if possible. So
Wow.
I told the detective we need to hurry up and get ready to close this case because I'm not trying to do another year.
Okay, quickly, and we have to get out of here. You said that the mother is not considered a suspect.
No. And
Is
that, like I said, that's pissing me off because she's already been, she hasn't even finished the grand jury case on the obstruction of justice. So I'm wondering how is she not a suspect?
okay? Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to just bring up a few things that is suspect to me. Number one, uh, she never reported the child missing. Number two, she had given the child over to Tatum. Uh, Number three, she was seen on surveillance video at a hotel bringing items to her daughter who was in the care of Tatum. Am I right so far?
Right. And here's one thing where you are at right now. Now, if you notice, there's not a video of Felicia exiting. The police have that. And I think there's something on that video that's going to shock us all once they release it.
Because the child couldn't have left on her own. I mean, the child couldn't have just got up and left on her own. I mean, she unless she just like disappeared through the damn roof. But it doesn't make any sense because for her not to be a prime suspect, because this is the same lady when the police had to ask her if she wanted to file a missing person report, right? Chief?
This case is twisting everybody's mind. I'll tell you that now.
Okay, but this is the same woman that the police asked to file a missing person report, right?
Right. Yeah. She what it was, and this is gonna kick some. This is gonna kick a lot of people that know about this case in the ass too. Now, she first had Melissa last seen March 1st. On the 6th-year anniversary of Melissa being missing on March 1st of this year, they changed the missing persons date to the day that the counselor came knocking on her door, wanting to know where Melissa was when she made that house call, which was March 19th. Police was called on March 19th, and they questioned her that day and this, that, and the other, and she was forced to make the missing persons report because they had made an Amber Alert for just the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, which gave Tatum or whoever the kidnapper may be, Ricky Lyles is a part of that too. But they gave them a way to get out of state, and they didn't do a full Amber Alert across the United States until the next day.
Okay, we're gonna leave it there. Cynthia's looking at me, telling me my time's up. But I know you will be back on as always, Chief Davis. I gratefully appreciate you coming on and giving a different perspective of different stories that we're both working on. As always, I thank you all for tuning in to tonight's live broadcast. We'll be back next week, be as God willing, with more stories about the Ahmaud Arbery case. If you have a story that you would like for us to look into, you can just call 1-800-231-1811, and we'll look into it for you. All right, we got to get out of here. Miss Hot Pink, love you big time. Thank you for what you're doing. Now, look, before we leave, go to the damn Cash App. Go to PayPal. Hot Pink, please tell them and put the damn money in there. Not tomorrow. Put it in there tonight. I mean, come on. Shit. I got to eat. Chief Davis. I love you big time, brother, and I will talk with you later.
All right, brother. You like.
All right, good night. Good night, everybody. I love you big time as always. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's live broadcast. Y'all have a good night.